Okay, guys, this is a much popularly requested topic, cholesterol maxing. It's one of the most fundamental things for testosterone. A lot of guys are terrified of cholesterol because they think they're going to have a heart attack, but the truth is, you need cholesterol for testosterone. You need it for, more specifically, the Leydig cells in your testes to actually function. They're not going to function properly without dietary cholesterol. So, we need to cholesterol max to some degree. It's one of the most important fundamental things we can talk about in terms of getting to the goal I talk about very often, which is 800 to 1200 testosterone naturally, no TRT. So it's so important, guys. So you can see, obviously, I've categorized some foods here, but what not to do is just as important, and I'm going to talk about these things in more detail because this is where the heart attacks happen. Like, seriously, these are the three things you need to avoid. But I'll go into more detail in just a minute. I've also said before that cholesterol, you want to be looking at least 500 milligrams a day, assuming you're not doing these three things. And if you hit 500 milligrams a day, it becomes like diminishing returns beyond a certain point. It's kind of like anything. Body fat percentage is 10% body fat really that much better than 15% body fat for testosterone? Not really. Like, it might be slightly better. Whereas 15% body fat is leagues better than 22%, for example, or 20% would be a better example numerically. But these are the foods you want to focus on. It is not an accident that I suggest every single man watching this video has eggs every morning. It's just, I mean, how many eggs you have is kind of up to you, whether or not you need to be in a calorie deficit right now, what your body weight is. Activity level's a huge one. But eggs have not just the cholesterol, they also have the zinc, magnesium, a little bit of D3, a little bit of selenium, some other things. Eggs are amazing. So eggs are a great cholesterol maxing food. And it's great because if you just have 4 eggs first thing, or however many, you can tick off a certain amount of the cholesterol maxing first thing in the morning, and then you don't really have to think about it for the rest of the day, really. Like, it puts you on autopilot. Red meat is a big one. Tons of saturated fat. And again, this gets a bad rap on the internet. Saturated fat is brilliant for testosterone, assuming you don't do these things. Again, we'll come back to that. Chicken, turkey, things like that are decent, and it offers you a certain amount of variety in your meal plan if you include these. Organ meats are king for so many different things. In terms of like nutrient density per calorie, organ meats are king. In terms of cholesterol, organ meats are king. It's insane. The only problem with organ meats, in most people's opinions, is that it's not very tasty. It doesn't taste great compared to like steak or I don't know, junk food, which is what most people eat. I personally don't mind the taste. If you add spices, various different spices, lots of garlic and onion to, say, beef liver or lamb liver, it dramatically improves the taste. Some extra virgin olive oil as well, and it also makes the meal not just tastier, but also healthier. So I've spoken a lot about the benefits of raw garlic, raw onion, extra virgin olive oil. It adds even more value to that meal. So vitamin E, the allicin in the garlic. The garlic and the onion are also really good for reproductive health, luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone. So that would be my suggestion there. Also, organ meats are pretty cheap. I mean, I know we've got the cost of living crisis here in the UK and everything gets more and more expensive. Yeah, it's a real problem. So it's another incentive to be having things like liver and kidneys, liver in particular, as opposed to salmon, which is going to break the bank for most people. So it's yet another reason for the typical viewer of this video to be getting organ meats. Now, in terms of what not to do on your cholesterol maxing journey. Oh, and just briefly, because I got sidetracked, 500 milligrams is a good daily target. 1 gram daily, assuming you're doing everything correctly, is going to be better. It's not twice as good, but it is going to be better than 500 milligrams. Just thought I'd make that clear. Now, this is all assuming you don't consume plenty of seed oils at the same time. So sometimes people will be going out to certain restaurants and having these things, and it's not the same if they're using loads of seed oils. Seed oils not just raise inflammation in the body, they also tend to increase triglycerides in the blood. So if you look at your blood work, the real correlation with blood work and heart attacks tends to be more about triglycerides rather than total cholesterol. Total cholesterol becomes a problem if you're obese or you've got higher inflammation levels, but it's the triglycerides that are the real warning sign. You want the triglycerides to be very low, ideally, like very low. Once they start creeping up, you've got a problem. And seed oils are a huge cause of that. So avoid seed oils and try and do as much cooking as you can, guys. I know so many people want to avoid this, but you cause problems by being like lazy with cooking. Although eggs are so easy, like eggs are the easiest thing in the world. Like there's no excuses there. High body fat percentage. If you're 30% body fat, or if you're over 20, your inflammation is going to be higher than if you were leaner. Like this is just a fact. With body fat percentage, like with testosterone, the worse the average person gets, the more these websites like the NHS, I say this because I know a lot of you guys are British, or these different, maybe the FDA, all these different websites with like general recommendations, they move these targets to fit in with a declining society where people are getting more and more unhealthy, and they're lowering the benchmark all the time. It gets worse and worse and worse. So now we're at the point where these websites are saying that men who are 20% body fat are in some ideal range, and it's like there is nothing ideal about being 20% body fat. Sub 15, that's fairly ideal for hormones. Being 25% body fat, even if your BMI is just about in the normal range, is horrendous. That is not good at all. You will have more visceral fat as well, which will kill you. Like it will shorten your life. And these things will make compound the seed oils to make things even worse. Triglycerides start going up. The HDL to LDL cholesterol ratio in the blood work gets worse. So that is another factor. It's not as important as the triglycerides, but when your HDL starts getting lower and your LDL, so the good stuff gets lower, the bad stuff gets higher. When that ratio gets out of hand, that's not good either. Which is another reason I suggest having omega-3s, but that's another video for another time. Finally, TRT. I am very clear about my anti-TRT stance, but my content attracts a lot of guys who are already on TRT. You don't want to be cholesterol maxing if you're on TRT. That's a heart attack waiting to happen. You don't need cholesterol if you are injecting testosterone into your body. Cholesterol is redundant to the human body when you already have the testosterone just constantly there 24 hours a day. That cholesterol is going to start getting stored in your arteries. That's a really bad idea. I would not suggest guys having organ meats and steak and eggs, but it seems to be the organ meats and the steak in particular. If you're on TRT, avoid those foods. Like it's going to cause you problems unless you have a ton of fiber with them. So the the fiber binds to the cholesterol, you excrete it out, you'd be okay then. But a million reasons why I don't suggest TRT, this is one of them. So I'm assuming you're natural, I'm assuming you're relatively lean, I'm assuming you're not having loads of seed oils. Assuming those things, cholesterol maxing is one of the most foundational things for being naturally high testosterone. I'm going to put a link below to book a call if you are interested in getting to the higher levels of testosterone naturally, a free call where we talk about consulting and things like that, see if we're a good fit. It's for guys who are very serious and who want to invest in themselves instead of guessing, instead of half-arsing it, and get something that's more of a guarantee of success, basically. So I hope you found this video useful. Check out the link below, and also check out the Testosterone Bible, which was a free video. Obviously it's free, it's YouTube, but I go into a lot more detail about my personal journey. You'll probably learn a few lessons from that. Yeah, check out that video, you'll find it useful.